Good evening. The Who's today were on at Hawkesbury, the Clarendon course. The track was good. The rail was in the normal position, and the wind, it was steady early on, coming out of the out of the west sort of thing. It was southwest, and it was fairly light, but it picked up as the day went on, and it was coming out of the southwest, fairly strong. Or the southeast possibly. Yes, the southeast. I'm going bananas. Southeast for the last 5 races. So when they turned for home, the leaders were copying the wind straight in the hitting the wind straight away, which could have had an effect, and maybe the reason why there wasn't a leader to get home all day. There were a couple of races near the lead, but there wasn't a leader, as I say, to win, and nothing won on the fence. There was only one favourite there to win today, so on face value, you might say the captains had a large plate and finished on the right side of the ledger. Well, we'll go through it, and I'll explain a few things to you. As I say, seldom things are what they seem. Skim milk masquerades as cream. And in the first race, the Avery in the first race was backed as if there was no settling. They took the holly on this. They said, we can take the holly on this one, Luther. Bookies let you lay the 5 to 4 on $1.80, and at the finish, it started $1.40. They laid the 5 to 4 on, the $1.80. They laid the $1.60 on. They laid you 2 on at one stage for whatever you wanted. It was into 5 to 2 on. It got back to 2 on towards the finish of betting. And again, the pros came in and had a large plate. We're talking about Luther, as I said. It missed the kick slightly, and it was wide, in about 4th, 5th position out wide all the way, which turned out to be the best part of the track, but not, I suppose, sitting on a limb. And the vet ran his hand over it, couldn't find anything, but after a while they said that it had a poor recovery rate, and it was making some lung sounds. So anyway, that's what happens in this game. The winner was the second pick. Turned out it was 8 to 1 bar it, 8 to 1 bar the Avery, and the second pick did win at Cliffsman, trained locally and ridden by a local girl, Natalie Lai. It proved a difficult ride for her. She missed the kick and had hung in under pressure in the straight, but she was able to get it home by 2 lengths, beating 2 roughies, Silver Czar and Snippy Dale. Excuse me, a 50 to 1 chance and a 40 to 1 chance. Now on the screen said 106.1, but there was only 100 in the marketplace, a neat 100, and there were plenty of roughies. It was very wide. As it was 8 to 1 bar the favourite, and then it was $14 bar the pair, 14 to 1 bar, $14 bar the 2. So it was very wide, but I'd say that bookies who did lay the favourite would have had to have a result on the race. The second race, this was a very big win. It sprouted wings once it got off the fence and to the outside. I'm talking about Jolly Bay in the second race. On the screen, we had 103.1, but in the marketplace, it wasn't worth a bumper. It was 92%. There were runners in this race, especially one of them, the opening second favourite, started equal second favourite. No, it didn't. It started third pick. I'll tell you about it in a minute. Anyway, the winner, Jolly Bay, as I say, it was squeezed out at the start, copped a very bad prat, and it was in last position coming down the side, railed inside a couple of runners turning for home, eased off heels, and came down the outside to beat the favourite, Medusa's Miss near the line, to win by 0.3 of a length, and half a length away running third was the one that I'm going to tell you that got out in the market, Charamonte. So I suppose, even though it has only been beaten a half a length, and its fluctuation suggested that it would get beat, its run was most probably better than it looked because it led on the fence, Charamonte, and it stuck on very well. It would have been a Skinner for bookies. It did go up $2.80 second favourite. It got to $7 at one stage, 7 to 4 to sixes. Did come back in to start $6 towards the finish, but you couldn't give the 7, let alone the 6, because there were no figures there. It was only 92% at top odds, as I said. The favourite, Medusa's Miss, when the 5 to 4 on went up, it was there for a second. One captain on the fence happened to give you evening money. He gave you evens, and at one stage it was into $1.70 hard to get, Medusa's Miss, but got to $1.90 at the death. And I must admit, I got very, very little section out of it. But the winner, and it led as Charamonte led on the fence, and sitting behind it, behind but not on the fence, was the favourite, Medusa's Miss. Not very big. She's a little bit fine as well. Had a look at her after the race when she came back into the enclosure. She got onto heels just before the turn, but that didn't cost her. Bowman got a split in between runners after straightening, and she just wasn't good enough, as the winner came from well behind her after getting that pratt at the start. But the winner, fluctuation-wise, went up $7 or $8 and got to $10 on one board on the fence. Like an absolute fool, I gave $9 for a good bit of section to the pros, and it did start 9 to 2, second favourite. It was extreme. Well, it actually started 4 to 1. It started $5. It was extremely well played. They had 3 plates, 3 nice, beautiful plates of this. They took the 10, they took the 9, they took the 8, they took the 7, took the 13 to 2. They took the 6 to 1. They took the 11 to 2, and then they butted up and took the $6. And captains had to make it $5 at the finish, starting second favourite. It was hard to escape. It was impossible to lay the second pick, as I said, opening second favourite. And if you didn't lay the favourite and catch it right when it was backed earlier on, you were in awful trouble. I happened to be one of those who got into a bit of froth and bubble in that race. Race 3, 106.9 on the screen. It wasn't bad. It was 105 if you could lay them all. That was before the late scratching, 105 of number 2, Rock 10, who I did give $18, did start about $16, but it was scratched to the barrier. This favourite was fairly hard to lay, Lyric. It went up short odds about $1.70 and got to $2.30 at one stage, back into $2.15 sort of thing. But even after the scratching, it was still $2.15. But as I say, it was backed, but there wasn't. Was only one of the pros came into it. It was bet around by 2 of the other pros, and they happened to find the winner. Now, these are the flux on the winner. Bestow, who happened to be a stablemate of the favourite. I gave $13. 13 was given on the fence, and it did start $5. 4 to 1 it started. It was 12 to 1 into 4 to 1. They won an absolute bucketful on it. It was $13 taken, $11 taken, $10 taken, 9, 8, 7, 6, and they took the $5.50, started 4 to 1, second favourite. The opening second favourite in the marketplace, the opening second favourite was Magical Tales, number 10. It opened up $3 second pick, clear second pick, but it got to $5.50 at one stage and came into $5 at the finish. It was a funny race, even though there was a bit of purr on the board. It was a hard race to lay some of the roughies. There was just no fill-in money anywhere, and as I say, the winner was $13 into was 12s to 4s. Very, very hard to escape not losing on that race. I lost on it. Trial Ground was backed. It was $8, $7 out to $9, back into $8 hard to get, and more or less the others more or less didn't have a price. The Trial Ground went straight to the front, ridden by Killer Kath, and she led by 5 or 6 lengths at one stage, stayed close to the fence, which wasn't the place to be, and running along behind Kath was the bottom weight, a 30 to 1 chance, Worldly, and sitting in third hole getting a good suck up was the winner, Bestow. And when they turned for home, Bestow quickly got into second hole and once proper Peter Oval balanced it up, he was able to get past Kath very easily. He went on to won by 2 lengths, and coming from about third last position down the outside, hanging in under pressure, was the opening second favourite, Magical Tales, and it got into third hole, beaten 2.2. The favourite, Lyric, it finished up, well, it settled well back in the field as well. It was in front of Magical Tales. It ran second, made up plenty of ground, and it was beaten 2 lengths. That's about all I would say there. As I say, the fence was very iffy there for the leader. Race 4, on the marketplace, 105 on the screen, I should say, 105.5. In the marketplace, only a skinny 97%. And you think there weren't a couple of, especially one really good go in this race, a horse called Abelston, at number 3. $14 given, $14 given, 13 to 1, and did start $5. Unfortunately, it settled down in last position after missing the kick slightly. It did make up a mile of ground, coming from last into a second hole, grabbing the favourite on the line, but it was beaten by 10.8 lengths, running second. This winner, Cantonese, it absolutely trotted in, and $4.20 was given on the fence about this run. It seemed fair odds to me. Anyway, the way the race was run was the opening favourite, Keltoy, who went up evening money. It got out to it just kept on easing in the betting. Now it's all right saying one thing and meaning another, but it was extremely hard to lay Keltoy. I was $2.70 when they jumped, along with plenty of other captains, and I must admit I got 4pence out of it. It was extremely hard to lay. At one stage, the pumper was aboard. It raced without the Norton bit on today, and he said it raced very keenly, and he allowed it, instead of fighting it, he said he allowed it to stride, and he didn't realise how far he was in front of the field at one stage. And if he did know, he might have tried to restrain it, but anyway, he let it run along, which was the right thing to do. If he would have restrained it, it would have been beaten further. It did cling on to third hole. It was long gap to fourth, 14 lengths to fourth, and it was grabbed on the line by the horse that ran second, Abelston, and it was 10.9 lengths away. But it did lead on the fence and stayed close to it all the way, which wasn't the place to be today at Hawkesbury. The winner, I've given you the fluctuations on the favourite. The winner, Cantonese, it went up $3, 2 to 1 second pick, and it kept on easing. It got to $4.20. Excuse me, $4.20 at one stage on the fence. $4 plenty of boards towards the end of betting, but it was snapped up by the pros, and it was I think they returned at $3.60, which was most probably right. Could have maybe got $3.70. There's no difference, but there was very little percentage in this race for bookies. Number 2, Catch Your Idol, it was labelled at one stage at $7 for whatever you wanted, but it did start $8. Abelston, as I told you, it was the plonk horse, $14 into $5, and the one below the favourite was only one runner in the market, and that was Heart of Joy. $10 was taken at one stage, but it did start that price, and there was a little bit of money for Boardwalk. I bet $31, started 26. They took 61. State General started 40. They took 40 to 1. Babaloo started $21, and I laid the bottom on Alta Foresta at 100 to 1, started $81. But the winner, ridden by Jenny Duggan, it sat in third hole, getting the suck up on the back of Heart of Joy, who it chased the leader, and well before the turn, Jenny Duggan had got into second hole, and you could see very easily, even the judge knew that number one was its number was in the frame, and as she was coming down the straight, she looked up and she says, "Oh my God, the judge has already put the cucumber in the frame here, number one," and there it was, 10.8 lengths. Race 5, 107 on the screen, only 100, a neat 100 in the marketplace, less the Toyota Lexus, of course. Now, this was back very, very late. Not for a lot of section, but enough just to take the nice cream off the top. I'm talking about Canyini, trained by Waller and ridden by Father Schofield. It jumped straight to the lead from a wide alley, but then was taken hold of, and Go Nicky got up in the inside of it, and they raced 1-2 to the turn. And when they got to the turn, Cayenne had got to the lead and fought on very strongly down the straight to hold off the favourite, Pazesco. Now, this was another runner that was extremely hard to lay. And there was only 100 there at top odds with plenty of runners unlayable. Lots and lots of runners. The SPs, don't take any notice. The SPs, if I told you what they were, you wouldn't believe it. Pazesco went up about $2.25, about the 5 to 4 mark, maybe $2.30, and $2.80 was given on the fence, but it was that was taken, and you could have laid it at the 2.80 and the 2.70 at one stage, but it was $2.70 begging at the finish, and I must admit it's another Avery I missed it, and it settled down third on the fence, ridden by the pumper. It did have an inside alley, it drew barrier 2, and it was on the fence, as I say, behind the leader, Go Nicky, which wasn't a place to be, got around its heels turning for home, and ran second, beaten 1.3 lengths. And Go Nicky has done a very good job taking into consideration it would have been hit by the wind when they turned for home, and also staying close to the fence. It ran third. It was only beaten 1.8 lengths. So its effort was very, very good. Runners that were very well backed in the race, which caused the favourite to get out, were runners down near the bottom. Hora Sexta, it went up about a 7-2 chance, about 4.40, 4.60. It got to $6 at one stage, but it was poleaxed into $4.20, no better at one stage, but got to $4.40 towards the death. And the other one, the First Starter Centre Dessert, it opened up about the same price, maybe $5, but it got to $7. It got to $7, and it was extremely well backed, and it only started $4.60 at one stage. After $7 was given, I laid 4 monkeys, and even might have been 6 spots on it at about $4.60 as well. So it was very well backed, and it finished up. It ran fourth after sitting. This is Centre Dessert. Just after it was sat in about 4th or 5th position, right behind the pace, and ran fourth. Hora Sexta, there was a big field, bit of noise there. I haven't really I'll look at the tape tomorrow, but I think it settled down a bit further back in the field, and it finished up running fourth last. I know that was beaten a long way. I think its run it could have been trapped wide in the run, but I'm not too sure there. But betting wise, as I said, the favourite was very hard to lay, and the winner, they took the $19 very late, into about $17. Race 6, 100.9 on the screen, but only 93% in the marketplace. And this was the only Avery to win all day, the only favourite to win, Future Shock. Opened up $5.50, and it did start $4.20 favourite. Now in this race, bookies must have given, we only gave 93% of top odds, but I'm just looking at it now. We did give 5 to 1 the field. We gave $6 the field in a field of 8. There were runners in this race that didn't have prices, Arawak, it opened up $4.20 or $4.40. It was $8 begging at the finish. It led on the fence, ran third, only beaten .8 of a length. So give it a tick when you're doing the form next time. It was in the worst section of the ground and possibly wind affected as well. Without Pier, opened up $4.80. $5.50 was killed for at one stage, even $5, but it did start to $5.50. The winner, Future Shock, opened up $5.50, got to $6.50. I gave it. It did start $4.20, a very bad result. Newell, resuming from a spell today, opened up $4.40, very safe, got to $6.50, but only started $5. Lee Zam opened up $8, got to $11, started $10. Sovereign Debt opened up $5.50, got to $6, only started $4.60. And this is the runner which didn't have a price. And as I say, at top odds, 93%, but absolutely FEMA opened up $6. I was $15 when they jumped, 14 to 1. I haven't struck it for a caser, haven't put its name in the ledger. So their 6% was on my board that doesn't even exist. It did jump out a bit slow, settled down at the rear of the field, and it hasn't passed a runner. Got beat 6.4 lengths. Swear blind they knew it would run last. It was only 5s to 50. It was only 5s to 14s, and the bottom one, what's it called? Rolling in the river. It was $30 out to $70. The winner sat midfield. They raced in pairs. The winner sat midfield, well in 6th position, one off the fence. And when they turned for home, Bowman had got to the outside, balanced it up, and it finished 2 well to beat without Pier, who sat outside the leader. The two outside the leader, excuse me, margins were 0.5 by 0.5, half a length by 0.8. Come the 7th, on the screen, 100.7 in the marketplace, a worthless 92%, not worth a drink of water. And again, this is what I'm trying to tell you. There might have only been one Avery here to win today, only one Avery, but there were lots of Averys that I wasn't even able to put them in my book. And what about this winner here, resuming from a spell, Hard Liquor? And this will tell you how good the outside section of the track was and the inside was no good. Ridden by Jenny Duggan over the 1,200 metre journey. Drew barrier 9, the outside alley. The bookies gave $11, went up $10, and it got to 11, and it was extremely well back. Started $5.50. It was poleaxe. The pros had a nice, juicy, large plate of this. It sat midfield, was back in second, third last position off the track going down the side. The widest runner, she just let it stride without applying any pressure. It's a bit of a mad thing, Hard Liquor. It wants to throw its head up in the air and pull. It did hang in under pressure in the straight, but it only won by a mere 3.3 1/3 lengths. But coming as she did let a slide coming down the side, by the time they were turning for home, it was up outside the leaders 3 wide and went past the 2 leaders in 1 stride. And as I say, went on to win by 3.3 lengths. And as the price suggested, $11 into $5.50, it was always going to run a good race. Curta here, at one stage the betting $13 was taken, but it started 15, opened up $7 and got out to 15. He's a playboy. The pros did come into it at $8.50, but it started $8. Too High Tech, they did take $26 at one stage, started 21. Akmal, they did take $13, only started 11. Now this next runner was extremely well backed, Manor House. It was $11, went up $8, 7 to 1. Got to $11 Manor House on one board, or a couple of boards, but it did start $5. It was poleaxed, just like the winner. And it sat midfield in between runners. At one stage was on the inside of the winner, Hard Liquor, but it finished up running 4th, beaten 4.5 lengths, having every possible chance. Now this favourite Agent, it led on the fence, finished up running 3rd. Would have got the win when they turned for home, plus the inside section of the track was obviously worse, and it finished up running 3rd, beaten 3.5 lengths. Now when we get to the fluctuations, you'll see booking-wise was extremely hard to win on this race, especially with the winner $11 into $5.50. It opened up $1.70 agent, which seemed skinny, but it got to $2.50 halfway through the betting. Now, I must admit, I wound $2.50 off, thinking I might have been able to catch it at $2.40, and there being no figures there whatsoever. But it did start $2.70 unlabelled. I haven't written its name in the ledger. 11:08 on to 7:4 it was, and it led on the fence from barrier 1. It had the inside marble, and the track took care of it. They did return at $2.45 SP. I was $2.70 when they jumped, and I couldn't get a patron to say $7 to 4. Thank you very much. Living on the edge, excuse me, $12 or $13 out to 15 taken, started 14, and the bottom one, Prince Christian, never put his name in the ledger. They returned it shorter. It was 20s to 40s on my board. I haven't laid $40 to 1, or I might have, but I've got a penny stamp out of it. It was a bad result. The next race, race 8, it looked fat on the screen. 115.8, but I can guarantee you there wasn't anywhere near it. 100% only at top odds. The best fluck they say about the top one, Hannah Jane, which started favourite, was $3.30. A blind man could have got $3.50. They returned at $2.90 SP. I was $3.30 when they jumped. Now these were the prices you could have actually got. At 5 to 2, $3.50 Hannah Jane, $13 Hell of a Time. Lightens, I gave $9. Oh My God, I gave $9. Dream Diva, $15. Reba Regina, they returned at $6. I was $7.50 when they jumped. Handle with Care, $13. Drop of Magic, $18. Actrice, $26. Scratch the next one. I'm Ready started 40 to 1 on my board, $41. $41 also Moss Magic, who I haven't written his name in the book, and $151 Sinister. Now, there was an unlucky runner in this race, and that was number 2, Hell of a Time. If it would have been able to get a split halfway up the straight, it finished up, it ran 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it ran 7th. It was only beaten about 1.7 lengths. First 8 horses crossed the line, or 9 horses only 2.4 lengths between them. But Hannah Jane, Hell of a Time, I should say, if it would have got a split halfway up the straight, ridden by Mrs. R. Murray, it would have burst through and most probably got the chocolates, which finished up happening to the winner, Reba Regina. It was just behind the pace all the way, and when they turned for home, it wasn't on the fence. When they turned for home, he was able to get a split Grand Buckley, and he poked through and he won, and he beat coming down the outside I'm Ready from well back in the field, which was 40s on my board, as I say, when they jumped. Did lay $37.50 to 150, $26 there at one stage, and it was only beaten 0.4. And the other runner, which was hard to lay, Handle with Care, I might have been actually $14 or $15 when they jumped. It came from well back after missing the kick slightly, and it was beaten only a half a length. They, as I say, they went across the line. There was very little between the first 8 place getters, and run the race again, and you would most probably get a different result, especially with the track being iffish on the inside, and also leaders being wind affected. That's about all I'd say. What else could I say there? Fluctuation, well, we won't go into the fluctuations, how they all got out of the market, but it wasn't a bad betting heat. You were at one stage the winner, even though it did start 7.50 on my board. At one stage, it opened up 9 to 2, 5 to 1ish, $5 or $5.50, and got out to $7 at one stage. But it did touch $5 back in from that price halfway through the betting. But as I say, got out towards the end of betting when number 1 was backed, number 2 was backed, Lightens was backed, Oh My God was backed. Every runner in this race was backed except Moss Magic down near the bottom, which I was 40 to 1 at the death, and I didn't strike it for $40 to 1. That's about all I'd say. As I say, there might, on paper, it might look like there was only one Avery to get home, and the captains, you would say, had a good day, but it wasn't the case. There were extremely well-backed runners that agreed to the judge today that got the chocolates, and I'd say that the punters finished well in front. Good evening.